Hi guys, this is Asal. I'm studying for the bar and I wanted to review my notes with you. So today I'm studying evidence and I'm studying the competency rules. So in this video, I'm going to go over the witness requirements, which is the competency, personal knowledge, oaths or affirmations, and finally I'll be talking about judges and jurors. So this is actually very simple because most people are competent to testify unless the rules make someone incompetent to do so. And those are in very few circumstances, such as somebody with a diminished capacity or someone who is a child and who cannot testify. So what are the requirements to testify? There are actually 3 requirements. The first requirement is to be a competent witness. The second requirement is that you must have personal knowledge of the matter. And then the third requirement is oath or affirmation to testify truthfully. And I'm going to describe that in just a second. The next thing I'll be talking about is what does it mean to be a competent witness? So basically, a potential witness is competent if they are capable. Okay, so remember, they're competent if they're capable to testify. And somebody is incompetent if they're not capable to testify. So that's the difference there. If somebody is capable to testify, then they're competent. But if they're not capable to testify, then they are not competent. The next thing I'll be talking about is the personal knowledge requirement, because someone who testifies must have personal knowledge about the matter, and there must be sufficient evidence to support that that person has personal knowledge of the matter. And also that person must have observation and must have perceived the facts. So these are very important. The next thing I'll be talking about is what is the difference between an oath and an affirmation. So this is actually very simple, because an oath is supported by the religion or some sort of a holy book. So basically, this is when you see in a movie, someone will put their hand on a book and will basically have an oath, give an oath on a religious book. So basically maybe a Bible, a Quran, or any type of a holy book. Whereas an affirmation is not necessarily religious. So if someone does not have a religion, then they'll say, I promise to say the truth, nothing but the truth, and the whole truth. So that is an affirmation. It is not necessarily them putting their hands on a Bible or a Quran, but they're promising to say the truth. The next thing I'll be talking about is the judge's competency. So this is actually very simple, because a presiding judge may not testify. So all you need to look at is whether we have a presiding judge. If we have a presiding judge, he cannot be testifying on the matter because he is the judge, so he cannot be doing that. The next thing I'll be talking about is the juror competency. So can a juror testify? Because there's some circumstances that a juror can testify. For example, the juror can say, oh, there was some sort of a mistake in the jury instruction, or, these are circumstances that the jury can testify. But there are other circumstances that is not allowed, such as at a trial or deliberation, or when there is the effects or mental processes. So remember, it is only allowed during inquiry into the validity. That's when the jury can testify. So in this video, I just talked about Rule 601, the competency of witness. This is where you find your rule. Rule 601 is the competency of witness. In this rule, you'll find that the witness must be capable, and also it must not be made incompetent by another rule, okay? And also remember the civil case exceptions. The next thing you're going to want to remember is Rule 602. Remember, Rule 602 is the rule of the personal knowledge on the matter. So for a person to be able to testify, they must have personal knowledge on the matter. And finally, remember the Rule 603. This is where you find your oath and your affirmation. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the Rule 605. This is where you find your rule on the judge competency. And also remember Rule 606. So this rule has 2 parts. Part A is juror competency at trial, and Part B is juror competency during inquiry. So remember, it is prohibited during deliberation, effects, and the mental processes. So basically right now, all I talked about were the competency rules, and the thing that is the most important and the thing that you want to remember the most are your rules from 601 all the way to rule 606. This is where you find your competency rule. So I just really wanted to make a very short video because right now I'm in the middle of my class and I have to run back to class, and it's in the middle of a pandemic, so I'm doing my online classes. So I'm going to have to tell you goodbye. It's really up to you to look into this rule a little bit more, and I'm going to try to make another video for you if I find the time. But if not, I'm going to have to move on from this, because actually this rule is pretty simple. All there is to it is that everyone can testify unless the rules say that that person is incompetent to do so. That's all you need to remember. So that's pretty much everything I'd like to say about this. I really hope you enjoy studying. Good luck.